This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. Hello,
Hello.
it's me from Karelia Cars.
Yeah, I was going to do that. Oh, it's me, Big John from Karelia Cars.
Medivac actually peaks the sound meter. It actually shot right the way off.
When we're doing Star Wars as well, I
He
have
does, yeah.
turned him down.
All of a sudden, it's just like, ah!
To be fair, I'm forever being turned down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And off. Yeah, Marky Mark says hello to you all.
Hello, Marky Mark. How the devil are you?
Hello, yeah, and welcome.
And on wave as well.
Welcome to this week's adventure. We're playing a fantasy role-playing game. Well, a role-playing game in this setting, which is fantasy, which is called Mythras, created by the Design Mechanism. Thank you to the person who thought I created it last week. No, if I did, I'd probably be a lot richer than what I am now. But yes, we are playing it. It's a classless, level-less system. It's based very much on the narrative that we tell. The characters do have skills that are rated on a D100 from 0 to above 100. Spells exist, sword play exists, specials exist. It's quite an involved combat procedure, but if everybody is, heads up, then it goes extremely well and can be extremely descriptive. So yeah, say again, sorry.
I said we're looking forward to when that happens.
Yeah. Now, last week, if you were around last week, the players used their experience rolls and improved their characters. There's no levels; they get what's known as experience rolls, and they then started off a new adventure. And when I said started off a new adventure, they literally just got out of the way the meet the person and decide what the job is and how much they're going to get paid, and that's it. So before I quickly tell you what the job is, I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to tell you who they are and who they will be playing. And while they do that, I check their levels to make sure that we can hear them, etc. The other thing that you will notice is that just down below me there, the character sheets are actually scrolling around at the moment, but once players start to introduce their characters, they will actually pause on their sheet. And the other place you can go, that if you want to find out more about the individual characters, then you can go across to the website inwheels.co.uk/the-cast, and that's in there for you now. So I'm going to test their levels, and as always, Mr. Chuggerwugger will start. So yeah, go for it, Mr. Chuggerwugger.
Hi guys, I'm Chugwugger, as Inwils has just said, and the character I play is called Gulliver, the youngest member of the party, not originally from the continent where we are currently adventuring. He travelled across to actually learn more about sorcery. He's actually had to join an order on Odis because sorcerers aren't allowed to practice without being one. They're classed as renegades. He had a choice of a few: Order of the Kraken, Lich, Order of the Dragon. and Order of the Phoenix, all specializing in different spells. The one that he chose was the Order of the Kraken, the Blue Order, specializes in spells involving around communication, teleportation, transportation. The spells that he came across with didn't really match that. So to try to keep in with the people in the order, he tends to try not to use his other spells unless he needs to help out the party. He also has several lower level spells. He classes them as cantrips, but they're based on the folk magic school of the Mythras rules, and they're quick to cast, but a lot less powerful than his sorcery spells. As a sorcerer, he has the ability to shape his spells. He has a skill called shaping. It allows him to use the points to change various aspects of his spell casting, increasing the range, magnitude, number of targets that the spells are going to affect, or even combine several spells into a single casting, although that's something that he hasn't really got around to do it. Maybe when he's a bit more powerful. He was recently injured in one of the battles, took a very nasty spell to the leg, his right leg, which has basically left him slightly crippled. He doesn't move as well as he used to, and a lot of the athletic skills that he has to perform are a bit limited. But we shall have to wait and see how that affects him. He's still young. There's still chance that he will recover, or maybe even find somebody who can help him. Who knows? And I'm going to pass on to whoever's I'm going to have to give it to someone, because otherwise there's going to be a big silence. And Mr. Pickles is there nodding. So he's now unmuted his mic. So I'm going to pass on to Mr. Pickles.
Well, I am Mr. Pickles, this guy. I play Bartleby Fumus, who is our team's resident theist. He serves Amriel, who is the light moon goddess, one of two gods that are situated upon the moons in this setting. Through her, he can perform miracles and folk magic prayers, taking from the miracle category that theists get, as well as the folk magic category, whereas Gulliver calls them cantrips, Bartleby calls them his prayers. Usually quick. All of his prayers and miracles have to do with helping people, for the most part, making his allies' blades sharp with the moonlight of Amriel, or seeing strange things before they can attack, providing protection, healing, and very recently, I got the ability to protect from spirits, spirit shield. So it's a very, very good thing to have, I think, since we've been seeing lots of spirits. Other than that, Bartleby is the individual in the group that has knowledge about all things monsters and history of this land, being one of the two members of the party that is from this land. So he's a little bit of a knowledge person and can't play the lute very well anymore. And I'm going to pass the microphone on to Medivac.
Why, thank you, Mr. Pickles. Hello, everybody. I'm Medivac, and I play Hadra Khan. He's a nomad from the steppes. He lost his tribe, or his tribe avoided him, whichever you want to look at it. And since then, he has joined up this lovely group here. He's a warrior, a scout, a forager. He's a young chap. He's only 24 years of age, and he's recently joined the Brotherhood, which is a very secretive group who gather knowledge about the various biomes and what's happening in the world, how people impact areas where they move to, how creatures impact areas, how nature and the populace act together. He is trying to learn with them, and he tends to find that if he can now, well, last week he learnt literacy, which meant he could scribble little bits on paper and leave notes for the Brotherhood. So he could make, rather than using his memory to try and remember things that have happened, he can now make kind of notes to his knowledge. It's kind of like a Sanskrit type thing. He favours a short spear and a scimitar. He's very agile, very athletic as well, but he's not very strong. So if he goes brawling and punching, he's not going to do very well. Yeah, and with that, I shall pass that on to Mr. Longshanks EPG.
Thank you very much, Medipack. Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG, and tonight, as always, I'm playing the noble warrior Hengist. He, like Gulliver, was not originally of this this land, Odist. He came from across the sea on a special quest of his own. Recently, he's between the last couple of this last adventure and previous one, he's been working on his combat skills. So he's been improving his combat style, his general strength and endurance and those sorts of things. He tends to favour fighting with a sword and shield, although he can use a sword on its own, either single-handedly or two-handedly. And he's also been working on his brawling as well, so punching with his iron gauntlets. He also recently started renting a house, so he's now afforded the social class of gentry in Lindo. So he has a nice little house of his own where everyone's allowed in, but you have to take your shoes off first. And he's probably been hosting a couple of dinner parties as well for the group, to celebrate his newfound gentryness. His armor stands out. It's not, oh well, there's a chap wearing heavy armor. It's heavy armor, but it's gilded and embossed in dark green, and it's got his family crest from across the sea, which is a rearing horse, sort of like emblazoned on the breastplate, and also he carries that crest on his shield as well. He's a tall chap. He's just hit 30 years old, so he's probably the oldest person in the party. I don't know how old Bartleby is.
I had put him at 24, I guess,
So
and I forgot about it, and then I bumped him up.
He's the old man of the party in that case, although he's only at the height of it, the prime of his life. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the most experienced or knowledgeable or wise. He tends to sort of just see something and charge for it, which he did in the previous session when there was a big battle with lots of barbarians and chaos monsters and that sort of thing, and he just saw his target and just went straight for it. And I'm going to pass you over to Inwas to introduce the rest of the session.
Excellent, thank you very much. So you should have a good indication of what all the players, their characters that they are playing tonight. And what I'm going to do now is just give you a quick recap on what's happened last week. The party have a favourite haunt. It's called the Hairy Hobgoblin, with the proprietor is called Basil there, and it was while they were in the Hairy Hobgoblin that they were approached by somebody who was trying to fit in, trying to be somewhat of a renegade, a low-class person, but I think the party, I think Gulliver sort of like figured it out that he wasn't actually pulling it off very well. Anyway, he came across and he hired the four adventurers to do a simple job for them. There is a ship coming into port, and it will be called the Herald, and it will be lying in port overnight before the goods can be taken off the following morning. And basically Krytos, who is their patron, is saying that he doesn't actually trust either the crew or the city guard, and he has requested for the party to guard the vessel and to then capture, preferably alive, anybody who steals it. He actually gave them a basic rate to start off with, but due to some heavy influencing and fast talking, they actually managed to the party managed to increase that money to, I think it was it 1,000?
It was 1,000 silver pieces for the completion of the job, plus 100 silver pieces per robber who was captured alive.
Correct, yeah, but nothing for the dead ones.
Nothing for the dead.
Yeah.
For dead.
And I think he actually gave you 50 silver pieces for supplies.
50 pieces of 8.
Yeah, 50 silver pieces of to do any non-alcoholic wares or supplies that you needed. I do believe that he also arranged to meet you down at the docks at dusk.
He arranged to meet us outside the hairy hobgoblin at dusk.
That's it, to take you down to the area where the ship will be in, however not actually offloaded. So if you imagine that the ship is going to come in and it's going to take too long to offload, so there's going to be a period of time. So rather than offloading it all during the evening, they're going to just wait until the following day and then take the stuff off. And they assume this is when there'll be some kind of stealing, and this is why he's not sure whether or not the crew are actually in on it or not, because obviously the ship arriving quite late, could be something to do with it, but you're not too sure. And I do believe that you've got the rest of this day to do anything that you wish before actually meeting Krytos tonight at dusk outside the hairy hobgoblin, when he will take you to your to the warehouse or down to the docks. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions about what's gone before first?
I have one.
Yeah, go for it.
I was sort of assuming after last game that Bartleby had exhausted all of his attempts at finding rumors about what happened to Bria.
Yeah, so Bria seemed to have gone missing. That was the general thing. If you want to spend today trying to get some rumours about what might have happened, then that is something you can do. You could roll your do you have a streetwise skill?
I do.
Yeah, so you could use the day to sort of like do streetwise, or you can ask in your church, or you can ask the local merchants. It's completely up to you. It will just dictate then which skill you're actually using.
Would I be able to, after having all of those horrible nightmares about Bria and her situation, would I be able to try spending the afternoon praying, like using devotion perhaps, to see if Amriel will give me some clarity?
If she thinks that it's worthy of either you or worthy of her, then you are quite welcome to do that.
That's what I'd like to do then.
Okay then, cool. So is there anything Bartleby would like to do in the morning, or are you just going for your praying?
I think Bartleby would try and tag along with somebody else, see if they have any leads. Without being able to talk to the guards, he feels a little bit stumped.
Okay then. So does anybody else want to do anything or buy anything between now and dusk? I will assume silence means no.
I was waiting for people to go first.
Oh, right.
I'm ready, but I was waiting for other people to go first.
No, I'm pretty much have what I would have on me, I think.
Okay.
But thank you.
Hengist, anything that you...
Hengist would make sure that at least someone in the party has some rope or something like that.
Yeah, I have rope.
Okay. In that case, no, you won't be doing anything in particular.
Okay. Gulliver then.
So, from what I can remember, when we left Krytos, it was in the evening, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you got the whole of the next day before you need to meet.
So Gulliver wants to go back to his lodgings, and he wants to sleep, which will hopefully give him his magic pool back.
Yes, all your magic pools will be refreshed. I don't think Bartleby has used any devotion magic, so his pool will be up to maximum.
It was only me who cast a spell. Last thing I used my
project self.
Project sense to follow Krytos back to the noble district.
Yeah,
but
that's correct.
Unfortunately, he had a couple of bodyguards with him, but I did lose him there. I want to do a couple of things in the following morning. I want to go and I've got some stuff that I need to sell and move on. I've got a couple of daggers, which, although originally I thought would be very good weapons, Gulliver's not the type of person to carry multiple weapons. I don't think he's ever used his knife apart from to cut cheese.
Okay.
I would like to try to move those on. He also found a gold necklace, which I would like to move on as well.
Okay.
Then like to find some type of commodity which is holding its value but small, maybe small gems or something like that I could convert a lot of my currency to. I've got a whole lot of silver at the moment which I can't carry and I can't store.
Right.
I want to try to transfer those into something else.
Okay.
If you want me to do that later, though, I can.
Does anybody want to do anything related to the actual adventure?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What do you need to do in relation to the adventure?
I would like, if possible, I would like to go. And from what I can remember, there's two parts of the dock. There's the old dock and the new dock. The new dock was where we came into.
Yeah.
So I want to go down to the new dock, and I want to see whether or not Captain Seatide's ship is in dock.
Right.
And maybe even ask Basil whether or not he knows. I want to see whether or not he's ever, if he's there, whether or not he's ever heard of this of the Herald.
Okay then.
And if so, whether or not he can tell me anything about the captain or where it sails to or from. I don't know whether or not I'll be able to talk to maybe the harbour master. Maybe even trying to do a bit of pretending that I'm working for the order, and ask whether or not he can tell me what time the ship is due in, and whether or not I can find out where it was coming from as well. Almost going down the lines of sort of like bluffing and saying that,
Well, that would be a deceit roll, that you're to go against the harbour master, because
Right.
you're trying to do something that is technically a lie. So what will happen is that he will roll his insight, and you will roll your deceit, and then it'll be like an opposed roll. So whoever sort of like wins will either will pull it off, or he will say, for example, you win, you will be able to pull it off and get the information. However, if he wins, then he will know that you're just making it up.
Right.
And trying to sort of like fast talk him out of information, and then he could deal with that in a variety of ways. He could report you back to your order. He could call the town guard or anything like that, and sort of like say, this person's trying to get information about the ship, etc., etc.
Okay, I'll go down the.
Hang on, let's go back to the sea tide, because I have no idea whether or not the sea tide is actually in dock or not at this precise moment in time. I probably think, he goes out on quite long and varied routes. So I think there's probably about a 30% chance that he's actually in now. So by all means, roll a D100, and if you get 30 or less, then the sea tide is there. If not, then it's not actually in the dock.
No, because I need to get rid of, because I did the roll in the. Could I use a point of luck? Or is because it's not a personal thing, then?
No, it's totally up to you. If you want to use a point of luck, then that's absolutely fine. It's your luck. It's not mine.
Yeah. So
okay, then. So you can use a point of luck, and so the sea tide is in. It's probably come back. It's just sort of like stopping off for one of its offloading various cargo, trade off. That is picked up from its journeys around. So what did you want to ask the captain?
Well, I wanted to see whether or not he knew of a ship called the Herald that also docked in Lindo, and whether or not he knew what journeys it made. You know, from what ports to.
Okay, yeah. So Captain's what's his name? It's a sea.
Seatide.
It's a what's the ship called? The Wave Crest.
The Wave Quest.
Yeah. So Captain Seatide is sort of like understandably confused why you wish to see him, and sort of like almost like gets this impression that you almost like grilling him for information.
I would actually go on the pretense when I first go, because a few months ago I gave him a letter which he kindly said that he would return to Master Healy. It was just a letter sort of like telling Master Healy how I was progressing on Odis. So I'd go to begin with on the pretense.
Okay then, so roll your deceit, and instead of being a standard difficulty, it can be an easy difficulty, since you've got that to back it up. Yes, he is. Marky Mark. Marky Mark just said, is Gulliver going to sell Havoc, Wrecker and Foe Slayer? Okay then, so do you wish to roll it again?
No, because I don't know why I'm rolling. I don't know how it's affecting it. So I'll just keep it how it.
Well, it will. I'll tell you what it affects. It'll affect the amount of information that you get. So
Right.
It's a bit like at the moment you have failed your deceit roll. So even though you sort of like sit down and you're exchanging questions about the letter, you're asking about the letter, and then you all of a sudden you sort of like say, so do you know anything about the Herald? A ship called the Herald, and he's sort of like at the moment he's sort of like taken back because the jump in conversation was too much, and he's sort of like thinking in his head, why is he asking about another ship when he's come to me? So that's where we're at the moment.
Oh.
So you can either use a point of luck to re-roll it, actually swapping the it'll give you 46, so it wouldn't actually succeed on the easy roll, but you can use a point of luck and re-roll it if you wish. Or I tell you what, let me just roll my dice pool, since it should be an opposed roll. Yeah, so he gets 42, which is actually below his insight. You know, so he realizes. So you can, if you wish, ask me to re-roll and re-roll it. It would be pointless swapping my numbers across because it will be 24, which means it'll be easier. Or you can re-roll your own, or you can leave it how it is.
I'll leave it how it is for the time being.
Yeah, and so he sort of like, he looks rather confused when you sort of like start quizzing him about another ship. And you mentioned I presume you're mentioning the word, the Herald. And
Yes.
yeah, and he sort of like, you notice that his eyes narrow somewhat when you mention the ship of the Herald. And he sort of like leans forward to you and sort of like closes the gap. And he sort of like takes his pipe out of his mouth, and you smell and see his tobaccoed teeth. And he sort of like turns his pipe round and almost like uses it as a pointy stick, which is not too pleasant as really, because the tar's still in the end of it, and there's a bit of saliva, you know, on the edge as he sort of like pokes it. And he basically says, he sort of like says, you'd be better to stay away from the ship called the Herald. It's a trade ship, but not of my caliber.
Gulliver wants to try to cover up the first deceit with a second deceit, and go down there. He's going to say, "Oh, my friend from the order was looking at signing up as a as a crew member because he wasn't very good, and there was somebody in the bar that said that the ship was due in, and that they normally were looking for crew, so he was going to sign up.
Yeah, so now, because you're repeating a skill in any case, the level's now gone up to a standard roll. So yeah, roll away.
I'm going to use a point of luck this time to reroll.
Okay, go for it.
No.
He sort of like says, your friend would be better getting a passage on a ship like mine. What is your friend's name? Let me take down his name so I can contact the order directly. I am sure we can give passage to a good, seaworthy member of the Order of Kraken. I know how much they enjoy the sea. Well, please just give me their name and I can follow this up.
Cuthbert.
He sort of like scribbles something down, and you notice it's some kind of word that probably resembles the word Cuthbert, but probably isn't spelt correctly. He sort of says, yes, he says, I will definitely make sure that I approach your order later on today to see whether or not Cuthbert is willing to sail at the end of the day. It should be a fair tide tonight, which means that we can get merrily on our way. It's nice seeing you again, Master Gulliver. I hope the world does not seem to be treating you well. I notice a strange limp you have, but yes, you look taller.
Oh, I am, and I'm trying to grow a beard as well. Can you tell?
He sort of like looks at you and sort of like looks closer, and then he's
like to catch the light.
He sort of like goes. He sort of like thinks for a minute, and you notice that he's actually trying to figure out. Normally he would just say no, but he's trying to figure out what the answer should be, and he says, "Keep at it, Master Gulliver, keep at it," as he strokes his long bushy beard that is really full and typical seafarer type.
Gulliver say, thank you very much, Captain, and may your sails always be full of wind.
Okay, now are you going with influence or commerce for your haggling of your...
I am going for influence.
Okay, so I think you have a roll, don't you, on the first thing? So if you
to see who gets advantage.
Yeah. So tell me, do you want to go against a good merchant or a not so good merchant? I'm dying to know what Medivac is doing, because all the chat is saying is laugh out loud, Medivac, ha 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 ha, like this, and I don't watch the cameras, so I have no idea what's going on.
I had a pipe earlier.
Oh, he's got a pipe.
All right. So yeah,
he's got his mouth cancer stick with him.
And do you wish to
Yes.
go? Do you wish to go with an experienced?
So Gulliver's thinking along the lines that if he goes for a good merchant, it's going to be harder, but if he wins, he's going to get a better price. Whereas if he goes for a low merchant, they probably don't know what they're going to be buying.
Yeah, so the better merchant, you're likely to get closer to the real value. Yeah. A lesser person, I mean, if you fail, you're going to get hardly anything.
Right.
You know, so yes, so you're going to go for have a table about my poor merchants up to my good merchants.
Oh.
So
number 7.
So
I'm going to use influence.
Do you want a good one rather than an excellent one?
A good one. Yeah. I don't want the best merchant there who
Got you. Yeah. Okay then. So you roll your influence first. I don't need to roll anything at this point. So you get a critical success. So your bonus, it will be, if you're using influence, aren't you? It's going to be your task will be easy. Your difficulty level will be easy for the next roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then. So now you roll your skill again, and I roll mine.
I'm using influence again, yeah?
Yep, that's all right. Okay. So you got easy, didn't you? You just succeeded.
I got yes. I mean, I got a hard. As far as
Yeah, but you didn't get a critical.
No, I didn't get a critical.
No, so and I succeeded as well. So the difference in levels of success is equal. Okay, so what you'll get is the standard price for them. You won't actually know that, but the haggling goes on. Where were these from?
So these were from the first level dormitory. It was a pile of items that were stacked up as if somebody had already.
What was it? The second floor or the first floor?
It depends on
the upper floor.
Upper floor, yeah.
Okay then, yeah, and right. So you get for the gold chain, he gives you 1,000 silver pieces, and for the 2 daggers, you get 450 silver pieces each. He actually comments to you that they are rare antiquities rather than functional daggers. They seem to be more ceremonial than anything else, but the craftsmanship is good, and the golden chain is exquisitely crafted, he comments on, and says how very nice they are. So that would be 1,000 plus for both of them, it'd be 900 silver pieces. So just to remind you, if you had done better in your role, if they say for example he had got a standard, or if he had failed and you would have got like 2 levels of success, he would have given you 150% of the cost. Okay, if he had failed and if he had fumbled and you had got a critical, then you would have got 200% of the cost. Right. Okay, so that's how that works.
The first roll is just to see who gets advantage, and going in I had advantage because I just needed easy.
Correct. Yeah, but on your easy roll, so the chances are you should get a critical easier on your easy roll rather than on a hard roll, right, etc. That's what it should be like. Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. So cool. Right. So that's that done. Anything else that you wanted to do, Gulliver?
No, unless I'll try to meet up with some other. I'll try to meet up with some other people to find out how they're getting on. If
okay then. So let's.
We would maybe arrange to meet at sort of like midday for something to touch base and see how.
Yeah, okay then. So before we do that, let's nip across to Bartleby, and Bartleby, you can roll me a devotion roll because you wish to pray against the woman you for information about the woman you loved. I think that's.
Yes, I did have one other thing I wanted to do after that, but I can roll my devotion. Yeah. Get that set.
Roll your devotion.
Where are you? Devotion. There we are. Super high roll.
Yeah, you hear little or nothing back from Amriel. If anything, you get almost like the feeling of inadequacy, as if calling down or trying to get information from a deity about the woman you loved is probably not the best call down of divine intervention. I know you weren't calling divine intervention, but actually getting a deity involved, and she is quite unsurprisingly and very silent over the matter. What's the other thing that you would like to do?
I had a feeling that might happen. I just wanted to ask her and see, just to make sure that I was doing my proper duty to try and find her. I wanted to go down. I wanted to use my streetwise skill in the poorer parts of town. Because during his downtime, Bartleby is often in the poorer parts of town trying to help people. I wanted to go down there and talk around, mention the Herald, see if anybody's excited for a big gain that one might get from plans on looting a ship, perhaps.
Yeah.
Would I be able to do that?
Cool. Yeah. Well, roll your streetwise skill.
All right. Here's some big money.
Yeah, you sort of like ask questions around, and you get various replies, and the majority of the replies tends to be silent and almost like worrying. Something that you sort of like feel, oh, that's a bit strange. They seem at times to be very amenable to you and very sort of like open, but once you get down to the actual mentioning the word, which I presume you're doing, the ship's name and things like that, things go very quiet. And the only lead that you get is from a rather drunkard guy who that you're talking to in a bar with lots of other people around, and he's with his colleagues, his mates, and the sort of like that you're talking, and then you bring up, and this guy's obviously a lot drunker than his colleagues, and he sort of like says, he blurts out the name of somebody called Nine Fingers, and he sort of says, oh, you should ask Nine Fingers about that. And as soon as he does, there's one of his colleagues sort of like whacks him with his elbow in the ribs so hard that he actually falls completely off his chair onto the floor, and he sort of like rolls over and probably pukes everywhere. And one of the other colleagues sort of like stands up, and his colleagues stand up at that point, and they sort of like look at you quite seriously, and they sort of like look at you and say, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's drunk, right?
I'll nod at them in kind of a slow way.
And then he says, then they say that there's sort of like three of them now stood up. They don't look like sailors. They more look like cutpurse or rogues or something. They seem to have some kind of almost like pearl leather armor on, and you can see that they've got multiple daggers sheathed in various places, and you're sort of like sat down, and they knock him over, and they sort of like stand up, and they sort of like, you notice there must be a good 6 foot tall and probably about that broad as well, and they've got sort of like bulging muscles and sort of like tats in most of the places. And one of them, which appears to be the leader, sort of like says, why are you asking?
I had just heard the name in a bar, and it struck me as odd, as not one I had heard from before. Sorry to cause this ruckus, sir. I would like to make amends for causing this problem with your friend. Holding up my hands in a movement like I'm going to pray. Most likely.
Roll your deceit. You can augment it with your streetwise roll.
Let's see.
So what people can do is that they can augment their skill with another skill. So since Bartleby's trying to deceive some of the street thugs, so he can use 20% of his skill, his normal skill, of his streetwise skill, to then augment the first one. And then he'll have to roll his 1d100 and get that level or less. So if you just now an exclamation mark like that literally means that he's fumbled the roll. So it's good for him because he automatically gets an increase at the end of the adventure on that. But it's probably bad in this situation as the occupants have sort of like seen through his deceit straight away. Fumbles make great stories. This is from the chat. Oh no, a fumble, poor Bartleby. Sorry, somebody said, nice Master Gulliver, that's quite a nice price for the items. And they sort of like
Get myself a pony.
sort of like all of a sudden you sort of like say that, sort of like almost like go to almost a prey, and they look extremely suspicious, and you see one of them. There's also this sound as you hear that he sort of like draws quite a lengthy dagger out of its sheath. It doesn't, well, dagger's probably a wrong word. It's probably more like a short sword for you, but for him it's a dagger, and he sort of like puts it really close to your face, and he sort of like puts the blade underneath your chin and lifts your head up to him, and he sort of like says, praying will not help you. We'll remember you.
Initiative, is it?
We'll remember you.
I meant your friend, sir. He looks like he took a tumble. That's all I meant, sir.
Just make sure that you don't take a topple, he says, mimicking your voice. Pretty soon, preacher man. Oh, I thought that was I like that, preacher man. That's a good song title to have.
I was going to say, you should have sang that.
I should have a counter how many song titles I can get into an adventure.
Are you the song of a preacher?
Yeah, that's are you the song of a he says, and you notice, Bartleby, you suddenly notice that the whole bar has gone quiet, and what appears to be the bar, the innkeeper, the person in charge, sort of like sees that there's about to be some kind of fracas, some kind of altercation, and he sort of like sees that his property might be in danger rather than you. And he sort of like comes across and says, oh, no, then, people. I'm sure there's no need for that, Max. I'm sure the preacher man here was just saying that he would like to buy you all a drink. And he sort of like looks down and he says, isn't that right, preacher man?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly, yeah. I'll start fumbling with my bag of silver and try and get some silver coins on the table.
Yeah, and the guy sort of like the guy with, or not the guy with the sword, another guy sort of like just grabs your silver pouch, your pouch with your silver in, and just sort of like pulls it off you, and there's a slight tug as it gets pulled out of your belt, and he says, just will be just the right amount, and the innkeeper says, well, let me get everybody a round of drinks. And he sort of like comes over to you, and as he sort of like gets past you, he just says, run, like that, as he goes over to the bar to try to start to fill up the tankards. And you take the hint, most definitely, and leave the tavern, minus your belt pouch with however many silver coins you had in it.
1,825.
Yeah, he has them all. He's walking like this.
Just a backpack.
Yeah.
Full of silver.
And
Hang on, that does explain why Gulliver has a limp.
Yeah, he's got it down his trouser leg. Can you just roll a streetwise skill just as you leave?
This guy?
Yes, Bartleby, yeah.
Can do. I was just doing my accounting of lost coins, but...
Yeah, you sort of like leave the tavern and sort of like start to head back to the main town, and you sort of like look around, and you notice that although they're not following you, a couple of them sort of like came out and stood at the door and sort of like watched you as you went off into the down the streets, and sort of like kept an eye on you. They don't seem to be following you, but they seem to be keeping a check to make sure that you actually leave. And then after that, you all group together. It's probably about 2:00 in the afternoon. You come round to have lunch and a chat and to catch up. So we'll move you over to the famous herring hobgoblin. Here we are. He's not there anymore because he's gone. And that should be... What? Is he on the right layer, that guy? Oh, there's Basil in the middle. Okay, then. Yeah, and you meet up in the hairy hobgoblin. So you all sort of like gather around and sit down, and there's various, lunchtime, cold meats, bread, cheese, wine for those people who drink it. Just to let you know, Hengist, the hairy hobgoblin is not really a place for gentry. So you're sort of like very out of place now in this, and as you're sort of like rep for your building, etc., and your house, people are sort of like commenting. You can hear various snide comments about the gentry and how they take all the money, etc. So you gather around for lunch. So any way you would like.
Gulliver, as we're eating, Gulliver's going to say about how he had gone down to the docks to see whether or not Captain Seatide was there, to see whether or not he could find out any information about the Herald, but how things didn't go too well because he had to lie, and he's not very good at lying, and he then had to try to cover his lie with another lie, and that didn't go very well. So he might be in trouble with the order if Captain Seatide follows through with it. But at the end of the day, the only thing that he found out was that Captain Seatide didn't think very much of the Herald, and somebody has got a text message.
Astra will lean over quietly to Gulliver and say, Gulliver, my friend, it's usually the best policy to maybe tell the truth. If he's a friend of yours, just be honest. Ask him what you wish. And can we order some more of this white food with the bread on the side?
I didn't want to mention too much about what we were doing.
But you didn't have to, my friend. I'm not wise in the ways of the city folk, but if you're just honest and say, do you know anything about the ship that we are, the Herald?
You notice that Bartleby, by the way, is looking very much down at the table at this
Yes,
point.
very much so.
I'd take if we are going Dutch on this meal.
But what would have happened if maybe some of Captain Seatide's men were in on it as well? Because
but don't you think? I know what you're saying, but don't you think that isn't Captain Seatide the man that goes across from my continent Odess to where you came from?
He goes all over the place.
So he may be away for quite a while. So this. Like I say, I'm just guessing here, but
you've never see. I was brought up on a seaport. You've never heard the saying, have you, Hazra?
No.
Thick as thieves. Well, the same goes for sailors.
Thick as sailors.
Yes.
So they're not very bright. They're a bit like some of the nomad friends that I had.
No, they tend to look after their own.
I understand. Yes. Like rats or coyotes, they tend to stay together in their own little pack and just ravage together.
What about you? Did you manage to find anything out?
And no, I just went to somewhere in the forest and I spoke to some friends and nothing about this, but just about things in general. And I made sure I put my money in a safe place.
Speaking about friends, Hengist.
Yes, Gulliver.
Did you find anything out?
No, I haven't. No, I've just been getting ready for this evening.
I thought maybe you might have spoken to some of your friends.
So your guard friends.
I don't have many friends in the garden. Most of them don't like me.
You must have somebody in there that maybe could. Surely not all of them dislike you.
Just to let people know, Hengist at one point joined the city guard, and shortly after he left the city guard, which is virtually unheard of. So he's not well liked in. The chats are saying, Mr. Bartleby, how much did you lose in your silver pouch?
I can't carry that much, and I generally have my loadout with me. But if you check my accounting, I lost 26 silver pieces.
So the chat was just asking, so 26 silver pieces.
It's about how much I can carry, given my equipment I like to lug around with me.
Yeah, so generally a meal in a tavern will be about 1 silver piece, so you can probably imagine how much he's lost.
Yes, no, let's get back to ex-guard Hengist.
No, Gulliver. I think by the sounds of it and the way they treat me, I may have been the first person ever to have left the guard
alive.
In a pine box.
What about your lady friend?
That hasn't gone well either. Previously, did you remember, Gulliver? She threw me out the house.
Oh. I didn't have high hopes. But anyway, I thought of something that we could do, because the last thing that we want to do is just to go down to the docks and start asking questions, because, well, that could alert them to our plan. So I thought maybe we could go and have a word with Sylvester, because he has certain contacts within the shadier underworld. Can you remember Bartleby?
Yeah.
You know, I know she's dead, but so I mean, maybe he knows some of the other one. We could go and ask him rather than just going down to the docks and blurting out things. We could ask him and see whether or not there was anybody who we could talk to.
It's a good idea, Gulliver. I have a name, everybody, but you need to lean in close to hear this name.
Bartleby.
It's Bartleby.
No, Gulliver.
No.
I might have a gang out to kill me, but I found out, I think, a leader or a name important to what's going down tonight. So if we survive that long, we can do something about it. Leaned in, making sure everybody's close. Bartleby whispers, "The name is Nine Fingers, and him or his friends took my money."
Basil comes across and he's organising the plates, and he says, "Oh, Mr. Bartleby, you seem to have a slight nick in your neck there. There's a bit of blood going on my tables. I would appreciate it if you don't actually bleed all over my tables. Thank you." And he sort of like changes the crockery and everything and brings out more a new pitcher of wine and sort of like goes back, and you sort of like
you see Hazra sort of like stiffen up all of a sudden, and he leans over to Bartleby and he says, "Bartleby, my friend, Did somebody put hands on you?
Well, enough to take my money, but there was a bunch of.
Where were they?
It was down the less well-off part of town. It's where I normally do miracles in the name of Amriel, and try my best to help the locals bring fresh baked foods. I've never met these before. They're Hengist sized.
Just to let you know, the name of the I actually do have the name of the tavern that you frequented. It's called the Sow's Open Legs.
That's the type of tavern I want.
Well, in the steps, but I do think, Bartleby, that we need to go back there right now and make them apologize.
They'll make you apologize. We need like 5 of Hengist to take down. They have thick leather armor.
There is only one Hengist.
Yeah, well,
only one Hengist. He's the mightiest warrior I've seen who wears metal armor.
If you want to go after people that
I put the symbol on the.
Yes, it's very good. If you want to go after the people that are doing Bartleby harm, maybe you should go after the ones that mangled his hands first. Start at the.
I agree, noble Gulliver, but I did not know Bartleby back then. If I did, I would do the same. I would find them, and I would make them pay for what they did. But I did not know him then, and he professes to be a wonderful lute player, even though I've seen his knuckles drag against the strings. But still.
I'll have you know they called me Flying Fingers Fumus back then.
Yes, my friend.
And not
I'm
always
sure
to
they
his
did.
face.
So shall we go pay them a visit? Should we go to this place, or should we? I just think somebody to disrespect a priest of Amriel is below a worm.
I agree, but I don't think much will be done to help us in this case. The gangs in Lower Lindo are a problem you don't solve with bloodshed. But I have a feeling we might see some of them tonight, and it might be worth asking Sylvester what he knows of the name Nine Fingers. I'm with Gulliver on talking to him.
Oh.
Don't know whether or not that would be wise. You know what Sylvester's like. He always wants something for anything that he gives us, and well, it's normally me who ends up paying him, and I don't know what we're going to achieve by finding out some information, because what if we find out where he is? We've got to catch him in the act. We need to be down on the docks when he tries to steal it, if it is him. So finding him now, or finding if it is going to be him, it isn't going to help us.
And it could only serve to give prior warning and change their plans.
If things go bad. Because one thing I've learned today is that, well, I'm not very good at lying. You may be, Bartleby, but
You had an easy roll as well. It wasn't even a standard roll. Well, saying that, I mean, yours was augmented as well.
I know you probably don't lie. Does Amriel forbid you to lie? Or are you allowed to bend the truth in certain situations?
What the priesthood of Amriel teaches sometimes not the same as what Amriel desires from her subjects.
I think we should come up with a plan. What we're going to do down at the docks.
Well, I agree, Gulliver. But if we're not going after these ruffians at Bartleby, then we should go to the docks tomorrow morning at dusk, and then perhaps if they turn up there, we have killed two birds with one stone, which was most fortuitous.
Dusk is when it comes to nightfall.
It's happening tonight.
To dusk, sorry, dusk
Rather
is
than
nightfall.
Dawn's.
Dawn's the other girl.
the survival expert.
Sorry, dusk, but it is
I know why we
night.
just went random.
You've got robot voice.
I know, it's a garlic.
Got voice all night for me.
Extra Marmite.
Is he still? Oh, I thought he had stopped. Oh no, he's just standing still. Okay, so sorry, go for it.
Yeah, so perhaps if we go dusk tonight then and see who turns up, and then maybe after this debacle we could perhaps go and settle Bartleby's score.
We should probably try and find somewhere where we can be out of sight. Maybe a warehouse or an alleyway, so we can watch them without being observed, and then jump out at the right time, as opposed to giving them away early.
I agree, but isn't Krytos coming here first to meet us and taking us there himself?
He is taking us down to show us which ship it is.
Yes, and then perhaps we could look and survey the situation and work it from there.
Yes, that sounds the best thing to do. We should try, when we're down there, we should try and find somewhere where we are not going to be seen.
Okay then. So, does anybody want to do anything before you actually get met by Krytos and taken down to the?
As a side note, I would have taken everything but 95 silver to my sacred place.
Oh
which
yes,
is
your hut.
The hut.
Well, no, not my hut. No, the Brotherhood, which these lot don't know about.
Yeah, as a donation to them. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay then. So at dusk, you meet Krytos outside the hairy hobgoblin, and he is indeed bordered by his two what can only be called bodyguards. Gulliver, you've seen them before when you were projecting your sense. They definitely are bodyguards, and they seem to be quite nicely armoured underneath heavy robes with hoods. And Krytos seems to be similarly dressed. He's sort of like hoping to get away with the idea of the being some kind of ruffian, one of you, and he takes you down to the dock area, and I'm going to show you it. Your characters are on, but he's going to tell you where everything is, so you can make a decision what you actually do, etc. So let me just move you across. So you should be able to see the map now.
Yes. Zoom out.
Now there's still light around the place, so you can see. So as you can see the front end of the ship actually in harbour. This will be the Herald. Just so you know, there is a gangplank that sort of like goes up onto the boat there. If you can see that in that purple bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay then. The buildings roundabout, okay, are what appears to be warehouses rather than anything else. They all have 2 floors, and Krytos informs you that he has made arrangements for you 4 to take up residency, i.e. hang out there, in order to keep an eye out for the heist. The other thing that you need to know is that this is almost like one unit of the actual dock. So if you imagine, if you went off north from the docks, you would probably almost like come in from the south of this map. So it's almost like repeated up and down. The little house that you're in now with the little gangplank, that's also used for, that's almost like the harbour owners, so that's where all the paperwork is taken from the ships. There's a smaller dock for smaller ships to log into, so that's almost like the customs area. The big building up to the north, that is a massive warehouse. Okay, it's 2 stories high. And then the one sort of like to the south seems to be, the front area of it seems to be some kind of shop. Seems to be selling what you think from the smell of it, some kind of fish food. It could be shells. It's obviously dried seaweed, something like that. And the back area is more sort of like storage area. Krytos has arranged for all the areas to actually be available for you, depending where you want to go. And just Hengist, do you have a roll about roll your do you have courtesy?
I do have courtesy. Yeah.
Roll your courtesy thing. Yeah, you figured that it probably would have to be somebody quite expensive to do that. As part of the gentry, it would cost you quite a bit to clear out for 3 buildings and gain permission to actually, especially in this downtown area. I'm going to show you another map, okay? And the reason I'm going to show you this other map is just to give you an idea of what it's like up to the north. Okay, so this is what it's actually like. I just need to take that off. So this is, and you can you will know things like this. This is what. Hang on, you probably can't see it. Can you see things up now?
No, I've just got a black screen.
You see things now?
No.
You should be able to.
Well, we can't. Is it because we haven't got a token on it? Oh, I can see my token, but nothing else.
I can see my token, but nothing else as well.
I can see a map, and it's right Rabbit Warren.
Yeah, that's what you should be able to see.
Right? Does he have a light source?
No, nobody.
No, I have brown source.
You just moved me, but I can't. It's just a black screen for me.
No. Can you refresh?
Yeah.
Hang on. Before you refresh, let me just take you back to that
Would
map.
have refreshed.
That's all right. And then let me take you back.
Take me back.
Right. So I'm in. There's a whole lot more. Oh, right. Yes. Now I can. Now.
Oh yeah.
Can you see? So that's what it looks like to the north. Okay, so I just want to give you an idea of the general area, and if you go to the west, there's a whole load more areas like this. People like Hengist and Gulliver, you've been down to this area before. If you remember, you came down when you came to the temple of the.
And people started throwing knives at us from the roof.
Yeah, that is exactly the same area. That's the slums of Lindo. So I'm going to take you back to this area.
Is this south of the dead end?
Yeah, south from this one.
There's more of the. There's more.
You'll
of the
just
one.
go to more of the same. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay then. So this is sort of like the general layout. Krytos reminds you of certain things. He sort of like gets you together. The first thing that you notice as you walk down, it's becoming dusk. If you remember, the city guards check you as you go through the wall, and they actually have gates. If I show you the map, for those of you who have been to Lindo before from the sea, you will be aware that there's various gates. So there's a gate here and a gate here. This is the one that you came out. You're sort of like down in this area. This gate is closed at night, and all the gates are. So there's a definite availability for crime outside the city gates. I know, so I think Hazra, you were concerned about city guard, and you suddenly realise that really and truly that isn't going to be a problem either way round, because the city guards close the guard gates. There are sentries at the guard gates, not on the outside. They tend to watch from the tower just in case any royal people or high gentry people come back to the want to get in at a late date. But generally the area outside the city walls are quite lawless during the night, so there's no concern that you will be stopped by the city guards. The other thing that you do notice as you sort of like walk into the general area is that it's getting dusk now, and you suddenly notice the almost like the absence of street lighting. You know that in Lindo that there are, the guards go around and put lights in the street, so like flaming brands, beacons, and to keep the city lit. But this is obviously not one of the places that they frequent. There might be a couple of lighted areas. Krytos does say to you that, and you can see on the ship, there will be a light on the ship because all ships are required to illuminate their decks. Krytos also has a little bit more information for you. He says that the crew eventually will all leave, and there will be just 2 people left guarding the cargo. Okay, so just there'll be 2 people left on the boat. You know that's absolutely normal procedure. Sailors are normally employed to get them to the port, and they were probably employed just to get them here, so their employment is now out. Normally the captain goes and has a drink with them and probably leaves the first mate and maybe some other, the navigator or something on the ship, because they actually accompany the ship all over the place. And Krytos seems to be quite knowledgeable of this and sort of like gives you the information. Before you start talking about plans, is there anything else you wish to ask Krytos at this point?
Does he give us any information on where we are to meet?
Oh yes, he gives you I'll just move you to this building here,
which is the north.
Yeah, you are actually to meet him in. I'll put a cross on it so you can see it. This is the building that you're going to meet him in afterwards. Good thinking. So he probably brings you down this place and, through this area and sort of like says, this is where we will meet afterwards. Just to let you know, these buildings are all warehouses, and they look shut down for the night. There doesn't seem to be anything else in there. Or
do we have access to them or not? Is it just a case of we can't go in those buildings? Or
you can break into them if you wish.
No, so no access. Yeah.
But on one of the other maps, I've got the doors on. But if you want to see it, I can show you where the doors are. But just on yours, if you want.
How about this building here? Have we got?
Hang on, let me just your safe house, the one that you're meeting in. It has 2 doors. There's one here, and there's one there. You can probably see the little steps.
Oh yes.
If you zoom in, you can see the little steps going up to there. You back to yours, Hazra. Sorry, your map. You have access. Krytos has arranged for access into all these buildings as you see fit. You know, he can either leave them all open for you, or he can open one and let you into them and then decide what you want to do. It's completely and utterly up to you.
No, that's wonderful. I'm thinking this building here to start off with. Yeah.
I didn't see where you're clicking, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, this building here.
Yeah, so that's just a normal warehouse. You can see the doors down at the front. There's a bit of chipped. Yeah, that's where the door is. It's 2 buildings, 2 stories. There's windows on both the first and second floor, and it's quite. It's just sort of like wooden shutters. As Krytos can actually open it up for you if you wish, or he can open more than one up. As he says, he seems quite proud of himself that he has actually, made all of these available. Is there anything else you want to ask Krytos? Because you notice that as the darkness is coming in, he is getting more and more. He's trying to put on a brave face as if he's some kind of ruffian, but you can see he's sort of like when he turns around, he sort of like looks where his bodyguard is, and the bodyguard sort of like takes a step closer, and he seems to be a lot more reassured that they're there now, rather than when he originally came into the bar for you. If you remember, he came in by himself. So is there anything else you want to ask Krytos?
No, I've got nothing. Mine's for Hengist.
Okay. Gulliver wants to ask him something, and as he does, he wants to be watching him carefully when he says it. And just as he's about to go, he wants to say, "Oh, Krytos, there was one more thing." Just to try to catch him by surprise, and then he wants to say, "Have you ever heard of somebody called Nine Fingers?"
Okay, yeah.
And I want to make an insight roll and to see what his reactions are like. And let me know when you want me to do it.
Yeah, no, I've done my roll. Yeah.
You were waiting for whether or not you were checking something up. I got a 14.
Yeah, he sort of like looks for a while. Can you see there on your? If it was a very easy roll, you would have scored a critical. So if you on your easy roll, if you had,
right, I'm with you. Yes.
If you had got 11 or less,
I understand the thing now.
Can you see that? So that it would be 10% of the second column. Mm-hmm. And that's why easy it would be 11. You would actually got a critical. It's 14. 70 is your skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he does. He's sort of like he's actually quite. He's not avoiding the question or anything, and he sort of like has quite a long think, and he sort of like says no, and then he sort of like looks to one of his bodyguards and says, "Do you know somebody?" And he almost like, even though this guy's about 6 foot and very broad, Bartleby, you're having flashbacks to the tavern, but it's not the same person, and he sort of like said, do you know anything about Nine Fingers? And the bodyguard sort of like leans down close and whispers in the ear of Krytos, and he sort of like turns around to you. He says, "Oh, apparently he's some kind of ruffian. I don't have anything to do with Nine Fingers. I don't even suppose he has got 9 fingers. It's probably some kind of bravado title that he's making it up to show that he can't count to 10 or something like that." And the bodyguards are both sort of like stony face, not giving anything away. And he sort of says, "Anything else?"
No, I don't think so.
He says, "At dawn then, we will meet," which is about 5 o'clock in the morning. Just to let you know, Lindo works on a bell for the time in the main city. It will be heard from here because it's quite a loud bell. So there'll be nine chimes of the bell for 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he says dawn's about 5 o'clock, and he says that he arranges to meet you in the place that he pointed out to you at 5 o'clock, fifth bell, tomorrow morning. And he sort of like says, please remember, it would be beneficial if you save the cargo and maybe keep one alive. And he sort of like trots off, leaving it to yourself.
Inwalls.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. Roughly how long did it take us to get from the safe house to where we are now?
It's literally how the distance on the map. So it's
a matter
not
of minutes.
Yeah, a matter of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not too sure the exact distance. I can measure it, but I don't.
No, that's fine. It was just approximate ballpark. I didn't know if it was like half an hour's walk or an hour's walk up the
no,
side
not at all. Okay. Probably a lot less if you actually. Just so you know, I'm just putting you when you come onto the map, and I don't mind. I can't show you two maps at the same time, but just so you know, when you go onto the safe, that's where you appear.
Okay.
So there's this lovely narrow alley here.
Yeah, just screaming.
Just screaming.
A nice alleyway here. You can't get off the map and round a little way there. And then a nice...
Just point out they're all alleyways.
Oh, well, mercy me. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that? Right, so it's past, so we are going to take our break there. So please, if you're watching the stream, thank you very much for coming along. I hope you're enjoying the adventure. Come back in 10 minutes time when we see how the party are going to plan to guard the herald of the nasty people. Will Bartleby meet his friends again? And at that point, will Hazra sort them out for him? If you would like to find the answer to all those questions, then do come back in 10 minutes time when we see whether or not the party can actually guard the cargo. We'll see you all in 10. Have fun. Time to get some food and go to the loo. That is exactly right. They can't hear you yet. They can now. We are back. Oh, we've got to a really exciting part because the party are about to go through their plans.
What have we told you about building it up?
to see where they want to go. Can you all move your tokens just to make sure to start off with?
I can.
I can.
Excellent.
I can't swim.
So let me just put on.
I can't move him out of the house.
Let me just put on some people for you. Okay then. So you're.
No, we can't get out of the house.
It's all right.
I can.
I'm out. I'm free.
You probably won't be able to get into some of the houses. You might be able to.
Okay, I'll just put myself there for the time being.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pop two guards that will be on the boat. Let's pop another one on for you. So these will be the two guards. You do notice as the night comes in that they will actually have a light source on there. It seems to be some kind of lantern on a stick, if that makes sense. It's quite a shabby lantern. It doesn't look like it's highly illuminated, but you notice that they have lit them as dust settles in. The other thing that you do notice is that just true to any sort of like boat or ship, there's cargo on the deck as well as you assume underneath as well. There's no information that's been given to you, but you can see that there's various tarpaulin or covers over the on the deck. The boat does carry on further back, and if you actually want to go onto the boat, then you can move onto that map, and can you see, so you can actually then get to the back of the boat if you wish. But to start off with, we'll just stay here. So dusk is quickly approaching, and you decide that it's probably a good idea to get yourself sorted where you're going to be, so you're out of sight in preparation.
Hengist, my friend, you know the city like the back of your hand, as you are a guard here. Where do you think we should be, and what do you think we should be doing?
Can Hengist roll a strategy tactic to like help him get the lay of the land and the best sort of like way forward?
Yes, by all means.
Something, or can I?
Yeah, so just I've been having a lot of think about this. So once the dice roll is done, you obviously will know whether or not it's true or false, the information I give you. But once that information is given to you, then that is how you will carry out the plan. So you might actually know that the answer is, you fumbled, but that will be how the party acts it out. So if you roll, and this is what you think will be the best tactic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, roll away.
He's going to use a roll as well.
So he's you're going
Can I use a luck point and re-roll?
By all means. So this will be your luck point gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you think the best course of action is to wait somewhere and first of all observe. You think it's probably not a good idea to tackle them on the ship, because they might be going somewhere else, and in which case there might be some more the gang, and therefore you might be able to find out more about them, which will probably please your patron more. The other thing that you do come up with is the idea that it is going to be dark. So it's probably a good idea not to be too far away from the actual boat itself. And the final thing that you do come up with is that it's probably not an idea to get into the water, because it will make a lot of noise, plus certain people will sink.
Certain people being Hengist.
Yeah.
Right, so Hengist will party. It would be a good idea to be fairly close to the boat, but I don't think at any point we should get on it, because we could get trapped on it or miss half of the gang if we do that. It might not be an idea to have extra lights. Sorry, Sugar, I didn't hear you.
No.
What happens if they come by boat? What happens if they come on the water?
Well, if we make sure we've got sight of the boat itself, so each side of the boat, then we can see if they're coming by water. We also need to have eyes on the land as well.
We'll assume that the information, Hengist has shared the information as I said it, so because you all heard that, so that's what that's what Hengist communicates to you all.
Perhaps, my friend, if we perhaps have one person here on lookout, this corner here, and then maybe have or maybe two people here, and then we can watch either side of the boat. Just a thought. I mean, I do give to your knowledge of what we are doing. At least that way we can see both sides of the boat, and if we can see any boats coming towards the ship, we know they're going by water, but if they are coming by land, I would like to think we'd be able to spot them. I mean, that as a nomad, that's how we trapped like horses and things. You would set up two flanks.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. It would be a good idea to be on either side of the boat, at least in pairs.
Sorry, that's not what your tactical role told you. It said that it's probably a good idea to remain hidden, until the crime actually happens.
Could we be in the warehouse that is opposite the pier, but sort of like an opposite end, so we can peer out one window, two different windows? Because the big warehouse is. Hengist is wanting to keep an eye on the boat and the main pier, as well as the main sort of like walkway going north-south next to it, because that way you've got the sight lines of everything that you need to have.
I think that Krytos has done us a huge favour by making sure that the area is clear and there's nobody going to be about. We should wait until the other sailors have actually left. And then that only leaves two on board, but we don't know whether or not maybe they're in on it or not. Krytos wasn't too sure. I do have a minor cantrip that I've recently learned, which would allow me to be notified if people enter a certain area. I could maybe once the sailors have left, I could maybe place one or two of these in certain locations, and if anybody was to cross the threshold, then I would get notified. I can't put it on water, of course, because I'm not very good at swimming.
No, that sounds.
So that is an amazing thing that you can do, because it's like laying a snare for a rabbit. Very, very good idea, Gulliver.
But is the plan to follow them?
No, but this aren't the others that we have been given to capture them? There's no point following them to where they need to go. We need to be stopping these people from taking these goods, but taking them alive, apparently.
The person comes to take the goods, and he's then going back to the rest of the gang, and there could be like 50 of them, and in which case then we would get 50 lots of 100, which is, if we capture them all,
Yes, but if we follow them, do you think we four could take on 50 people? I know Hengist is a mighty warrior, and I have no doubt of his prowess. But 50 is quite a lot for one man to deal with, or two men to deal with, because I'd like to think that.
I wasn't thinking of fighting them, Hazard. I thought maybe if hypothetically, if we did go to a house, and maybe we could barricade the doors to stop them getting out. Or...
Are you all right, mate? You guys over there, are you all right?
No, we are lost, my friend. Whereabouts are we?
Oh, so what? One of the sailors, you noticed that he was up on the bow, the front of the ship, as you were busy talking down there, and he says, "No worries, I'll come and help. I'll come to help." And he sort of like goes off the deck and round and sort of like joins you, and sort of like Krytos has left you now, and he sort of like says, "How can I help? How can I help? You seem to be in a lot of discussion, almost like planning something."
My friend here, and he points to Gulliver, thinks the hairy hobgoblin is this way, and I say it's up that way.
Well, no, he says if you just go, if he points to this alleyway, if you just go straight down there, you'll probably get to the city gates really quick. But I would hurry, because they get closed at 8 bells, and well, you've already got about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Well, not long at all.
No, bless you, sir.
Yeah, and he sort of like,
blessings to your mother.
He sort of like stands there and says, just down there, and he sort of like waits.
Hazra will head off that way.
I didn't realise I was actually in the middle of the street. I'd moved him there because we couldn't get out the house, but I'll head down that way.
Yeah, as far as I was concerned, nobody said we're going in here. We're discussing tactics. It's coming up to 8 bells.
Right. So how dark is it?
Yeah, it's getting to the point now that the lights are on the boat, and the general streets now are quite dark. Well, no, they're probably dusky, so they're sort of like semi-dark. So you're probably looking at hard rolls rather than standard rolls, if it's anything without the light. And you notice that the guard from the that came off to sort of like greet you, sort of like waits till you sort of like gone down the pathway, and you turn a corner out of sight, and then.
Have we seen the sailors leave the ship yet?
Yeah, the only 2 people you can see on the boat is the 2 guards that I've put on for you. So you sort of like walk further down to your outer sight.
What I think we should do is you 3.
Is this Hazra or
no? Well, this is my. But no, okay, Hazra. What we should do is I will go back to where we were, and I will hide in the shadows at this corner here. And then maybe you 3 with Hengist. Just my thought is head to somewhere over here to hide, if you can, and just watch the pathway, the docks, and the and either side of the boat. Hengist, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yes, that's fine, unless we go inside the warehouse there, and then watch from the windows.
Yes, it'd be lovely if we can get inside. Do you think we can get inside? Anybody?
As previously mentioned, you have access to all the buildings that were pointed out to you. So yeah.
Well, in which case, let's go around the back and get in here.
Okay.
Gulliver wants to wait until it's darker, and then he wants to keep within the shadows of this building, and he wants to try to get as close to this corner as I can, and I want to see whether or not I can cast my alarm spell. I'll keep an eye on the boat, and I would try to do it whilst people are either moving around or
this whole area now it is just sort of like dead to the world. There's nobody apart from the 2 guards on the boat. There's nobody else milling around this place at all. Probably Hengist recognises that the only people who probably are moving around in the night in this area are probably up to no good, rather than being actually doing good.
So I want to try to cast it here, and then using these sort of like the shadows of this building. I want to see whether or not I can maybe get up here and cast it again there.
Right, so you want to put 2 alarm spells down. So where's I'm just finding you something to put down on the floor for it. I'll just say everything. So where's the first bit?
I want to try to put it somewhere within that junction.
Okay then, so we won't have a coffin.
So we'll pick up anything coming this way or this way.
Yeah, okay then. So, and what's the area that it goes into?
There's no. I'll link the spell.
Okay.
So that's the spell. So there's no. There's no sort of like area that it's sort
there's
of like.
There's no sort of like. Okay then.
This is the area.
Cool. So
So what I'll probably do, I'll probably see whether or not I can sort of like pace out this area.
No, that's fine. I think you probably know enough to sort of like. I know this is quite. I presume that you're actually going to tell the party whereabouts you're going to put these.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's one there. Yeah. And where's the other one that you want? Oh, hang on. Let's do your dice roll first for the first one, because you're going to have to do folk magic, aren't you, to get it to cast it. Yeah. So the first one is absolutely fine. And whereabouts would you like the second one?
I want to see whether or not I can get it up near the entrance to the walkway.
Like here, where it is now?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Maybe a bit further this way.
Hang on a minute then.
Like half on the walkway.
You should be able to move it now.
Yeah, so more sort of like there.
Yeah. Okay then. So roll your folk magic. Yeah. So that won't take any magic points, but the first one will.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's there now. Let me just. Oh yeah, that's in the right place. And I think I put this one on the wrong map layer. There you go. So that's where it is. Do you wish to do it without the people on the deck actually seeing you doing it or not?
Yes.
Okay then, cool.
So I wanted to wait until it was a bit darker, and then, like I said, I want to.
Well, that would be a hard roll to do it like that, which means that they both actually succeeded. So that they're both done. They're both in place, and you don't think you were seen at all. Hazra's inside the building, is that right?
Yes, indeed. I thought we were all going inside the building.
Yeah. Okay, then let me put you, because I know some of you can't move inside the building, but you should be able to now. Yeah. Is there anything else are you by a window, Hazra, or?
Yeah, Hazra's by a window. He's watching down this sort of side. This sort of side, and if he can get a vision this way and this way. So he's sort of watching 180 or.
So I'll put
90 degree.
I'll put a little yellow line there for a window, so we know that you're keeping an eye out the window. Bartleby, are you by window or by the door?
By the door, ideally,
Yeah.
so that if I get the command, I'll go out and I'll be prepared to heal somebody so that they don't die on the deck.
Yeah.
And get more
Okay. So the door's actually solid, so you can't see through the door. There is another window. I'll just put your windows on for you. There's one here, and there's one here, and there's one here. The ones down the side, you can see where the peaks are in the roof. So is Hengist stood by the door as well?
He is, yeah. I was just going to ask, is there a side door, or is there just one door into this warehouse?
There's just one door where it's quite a big double door to bring in cargo, etc.
Yeah, that's fine. No, Hengist will be by the door, ready to jump out, and he'll suggest if Gully wanted to go next to a window.
I don't think we should all be in the same warehouse, but maybe I should check the bottom floor to make sure that there's no trapdoors or anything. The last thing that we want is for the people that are coming to rob the ship to actually be using tunnels and actually come up within this warehouse.
Sorry, just from what Gulliver was, are you on the ground floor, the first floor? Obviously, Hengist and Bartleby.
I'm on the ground floor.
Yeah, so you're all on the ground floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you wish to make a search, Gulliver?
Gulliver wants to search the ground floor. He's not sure that this is.
So inside here, there's various piles of crates. That's obviously from shipping. It's not a completely.
He won't look at the crate. He'll look at the sort of like the areas just to see whether or not he can see any.
Okay then. So roll me. Are you going to light something?
No, he's going to have to do it via.
Because there's no sort of like a huge amount of light at the moment in this.
On the downstairs, is there any windows that have been unshuttered?
Well, even if they're unshuttered, it's now dark outside. You know. So.
Gulliver, my friend, just stay still and listen. If somebody opens a door here, we will hear it. And with that, Hazra will, while he's watching forward, will be listening.
Okay then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gulliver, are you going to have a look or not?
I'm going to have a look.
Okay then, so roll your perception roll for me.
You got a formidable.
Yeah, you sort of like wander around, and you know every now and again you sort of like test the floor with the heel of your boot or on your good leg, but there doesn't seem to be any recognisable trapdoors or anything like this. You probably think that this is just actually the ground floor. Now it is now, of course, coming in dark. Now what you should be able to see hang on, I'm just wait for it, because I'm going to right, do any of you actually have light of any description? I'm just wondering who's got the light there.
Well, I have torches, but I wouldn't be using them in this situation.
Okay then, so nobody's got light on.
Are there any lanterns within the warehouse?
Yeah, you can probably find a lantern. There's probably one lying around the place.
I bought a lantern that I have use.
Yeah, so there probably is one. I'm just seeing why I've got light coming from some of you, because the only person it should be coming from is.
Did you cancel from Bartleby and Gulliver from last time?
Let's see what you guys can see.
Out of anybody, it looks like it's on Gulliver, because he's sort of like in the centre of the light radius.
When I look through your eyes, I can't see anything. Everything is just black.
Oh, it is for me.
Is it black for you, Bartleby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was black for me to begin with, and then all of a sudden I got lit up.
Oh yeah, yes. I think everyone did. Yeah.
Hang on. So let me just do that to you, Gulliver.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you see the light on the boat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on the silvery moon.
Yeah. So that's actually just so if you're a player now, this is all that. So if you're watching the stream, this is all that they see. They don't see anything else at the moment. Everything else is literally black for them. So this is dynamic lighting on roll 20. So if one of them was to have a torch, then they would then get a ring of light around them. But they can't see exactly what you can see on the stream, what I can see. So if I was the guard, then I would be seeing that. But they can see that light source because it's over there. Okay then.
As will see the darkness come down, and seeing Gulliver looking for a lantern, will say, Gulliver, do not light the lantern because the guards on the boat will see it.
Okay, so just to let you know,
He won't say, do like a harsh whisper.
No, so if you're in the light source, then your rolls will be normal. If you're in the dim area, just like before, then it'll be hard. Anything that you're doing in the dark will be formidable unless it's listening. Okay, in which case it's just a standard roll because you've got nothing visually to distract you. So you'll be able to listen quite carefully. Did you want to, now that you're inside and out the way, do you wish to talk about a plan, what the plan is going to be, or do you just want to just sort of like go for it when it happens?
Well, Azure will whisper, lean towards everybody and say, Bartleby, that thing you do with Hengis' shield where you make it glow, and the light of Amiriel just shines from this wonderful shield. Would you be able to do that quickly if we needed to burst out of this place?
Certainly under the moonlight of Amriel. Should be possible.
Under the moon of love.
Oh, sorry, because I'm really, really confused. Is the plan that as soon as they leave the boat with the goods is to jump on them?
Well, we can see the boat from here, can't we, with the light from the guards? So if anybody goes, and you have set these hokey-pokey traps of yours that you do so well, Gulliver, that I've not seen yet, and I'm willing to believe that they're going to happen. So you will know if anybody comes from the south or from the north onto the pier.
I just need to know whether or not we're following them or whether or not.
I think we need to capture them. We need to stop them. I don't want to chase these people into a group of 50 whatever people. I want to stop them now. Let us see how many come first, because if there are 20, we follow.
If it's 20, it's going to be rather crowded.
4 or 5 or 6, we try to capture. I'm not a tactician here. Hengist, help me out here.
So is the plan to get them to surrender? Or
see, I could do another song here. That's 2 songs. I could surrender.
I surrender. I surrender.
That's out then, didn't you?
That's 3.
Oh, stop! No,
that's not.
No, that's not good. I'll get me caught.
Okay, then. Are you? Shall I move time?
Hengist, my friend. What do you suggest?
Well, we need to capture at least a couple of them. We can either get them to surrender or knock them out. It makes no difference as long as we get at least 1 or 2 of them.
But should we follow them, or should we? Sorry.
It's 100 silver pieces per one.
Mm. Alive.
What I mean is,
I'm not pretending to be alive.
We need to get at least 1 or 2 of them, and ensure at least 1 or 2 of them are alive. Any other than that is obviously money in our pockets and worth it.
No, why not all of them? Why can't we surprise them and set a trap? And well, no, we can't set a trap in a building. But should we follow them, Hengist, or should we capture them?
Well, we need to capture them in the act. So because we need to secure the cargo as well. So if we let them get the cargo, and then we can get them after that.
So we capture them, not follow. I agree, Hengist. You are so wise in tactics about your knowledge.
Okay then. So you sort of like probably make yourself comfortable is probably the best word to describe it. Gulliver, what happens when the alarm spell is triggered? What
I get a really strong prickly feeling on the back of my neck.
Okay then.
And an almost pain, almost like a pulling sensation.
Right, and so you can actually discern which alarm has gone off. I'm assuming. Okay then, so it's about shortly after 10th bell. Which you can hear in the distance, that the alarm that was at the edge of the pier goes off. Somebody obviously walks into it, and pretty soon, yes, I got it first. So you get that first.
Okay. Is who's? Well, he doesn't know who's close to him.
Do you wish to do anything with that information?
He'll whisper. He's not going to do it loud though, so I don't know where anybody else is in the warehouse. I'm on the but he's going to whisper, someone's on the pier.
The rest of you sort of like hear that, and from your window, Hazra, you notice almost like shortly after that, as if almost as if somebody has been listening to it. You know, as if the exact amount of time passes, and you notice that walking onto the pier seems to be what looks like I'm going to use Mika, but
Zuk-tuk.
don't be worried, it's not actually Mika. What you see sort of like coming onto the pier is rather a typical tavern wench. She seems to have a basket over one arm. She seems to have what seems to be a shawl over to sort of like guard her against the cold night air. Her hair's tied back. She seems to have very tattered clothes on, and she sort of like moves right. She comes into the light, and she sort of like comes onto the down to the gangplank. Hazard, just roll for me a listening roll. So this is going to be quite. It's a perception roll, but it's going to be quite formidable because of the general distance.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. You catch in the wind various words to you. Don't get the full sentence, but you get the impression that these guards sailor friends sent her out there, and she sort of like puts the hands under the basket. One of them goes to the thing and sort of like picks up the basket and sort of like looks into it and sort of like pulls back the cloth, and there seems to be like they get out what appears to be a ceramic jug and two tankards, and they fill it up and they have a drink of that, and then they seem to get out what appears to be bread or some kind of dry fish or whatever, and they tend to have start to eat, and the woman on the you can see the sailors are sort of like obviously beckoning her onto the ship, and like that, and she's sort of like playing it cool and keeps sort of like going no, and one of them comes up and actually grabs her, and she sort of like slaps him across the face with quite a force, and she sort of like leaves the basket and sort of like makes a rude gesture to them with one finger of one hand, and then sort of like wraps the cloak around her and scurries off out of your light once more. Does your alarm go once it's been triggered, Gulliver? Yeah. Okay then. So the one on the southern side that you put up is actually still there, and you can see that, Hazra, from your vantage point, you can see the guards on the ship. They seem to be laughing and joking and making various signs and pointing at the woman and sort of like laughing, and they seem to be sort of like saying, how long, what would you do, etc., etc., and they're laughing and eating and drinking, and they seem to be quite happy, and shortly, about half an hour, so maybe a little bit longer, you think it'll be very close to almost like the 11th bell, and these sailors seem to almost like slow down a bit. And then you suddenly notice from your vantage point, Hazra, that they sort of like they slow down, and they don't seem to be as energetic, and they sort of like clutch. You can see them clutching their stomachs, and then all of a sudden, one sort of like he just drops out of sight. From where you are, you can't see anything that hit him. He just seems to drop over down, and the other person sort of like, the other sailor sort of like goes over and sort of like kneels down, gets up and heads towards the gangplank, and just as he gets there, you see him falter a bit.
Oh, faceplant.
And then just sort of like collapse down onto the deck.
Azra will be like, whispering harshly, the two guards, they've collapsed on the boat. A lady came with a basket with some I'm guessing it was bread and food and wine or beer. The guards drank it, and now they were quite happy at first. Now they're asleep. Perhaps maybe I drank their fill but the first guy, he grabbed his stomach like you need to relieve your bowels, but he just fell to the floor.
Bartleby, Hengist, roll a perception roll. Yours is a standard roll. Gulliver, because you're a little bit closer away from the doors, you're more into the room. You can roll your perception as well, but it'll be a hard roll for difficult for you. Bartleby, and nice crit roll there, Gulliver. So Bartleby and Gulliver, you hear this sound that I'm going to describe to you. You are both just hearing it. So Hengist and Bartleby, Hengist and Hazra, you won't be able to react to this until they actually tell you what they hear. And you hear, both you hear the sound of what appears to sound like a creaking wheelbarrow or a creaking cart. If you've ever seen Thoroughly Modern Millie, when the woman comes down with the laundry and it goes, it sounds like that. It sounds as if there's something wooden rattling around and squeaking from outside. Bartleby and Gulliver, what would you like to do with this information?
Can I move my head to see whether or not I can determine which way it's...
Yeah, you can, know that no matter what, it's coming from. This is where you heard
coming
it
from the north.
Yeah, from the north.
Bartleby is going to hold his tongue.
Gulliver he's gonna listen, and then he's gonna say, "I hear something. Maybe a horse and cart. Does anybody else hear it?"
No, I don't. But if there is one, I mean, we should get ready and wait for them to. Hazra, keep an eye out for when they're finished loading up however many crates they're loading.
And Hazra, shortly after this, sort of like exchange of words, you actually see the cart being pushed into view. So it is like a big wheelbarrow. So what you've actually got is a bit like that. And
is it like a bring out the dead wagon?
Yeah, and then two sort of like lines like this, and the wheels are there, and out there, as you sort of like stand and watch, you see that there's some people there as well. I'm going to drag them on for you. Don't worry, they're not that big.
Hazra tried to count the fingers by going like 1, 2, many. 1, 2, many.
So
many one.
So what you see coming out, there seems to be two people that have been pushing the cart, and then there seems to be another one that was at the front of the cart, probably leading the way, and then at the back of the cart there is something, or should I say somebody, that looks completely different. The person at the back, I'll put Dominic Shea on just to sort of like the front three look very much like ruffians. Although Bartleby can't see them, they're roughly the same looking people. You don't know whether or not they're the same people, but they look definitely like street ruffians. The person at the back doesn't look like that at all. The three in front seem to have sort of like maybe some dark coloured clothing, etc. They are, let me just find my sheet of paper. They are just wearing oh, hang on, let me just see.
I was about to say the front three look like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but
no, they're sorry, I just wanted to see what they're actually wearing, so to give you a full picture of it. I'm nearly there. Da, da, da. Right. Yeah, they're actually they seem to be they don't seem to have any armor on, and they seem to have what appears to be daggers at their belt. The person at the back, which is all sort of like robed up, you notice that he's carrying what appears to be a club. He seems to have a club that he's got out in his hand, and it looks quite a mean club. It looks like it's been bashed, and it also looks like some people might have hammered nails through it to give almost like a spiky head. And you can't see his face at all. He has a hooded robe on, and he sort of like just stands there, and he sort of like looks, he sort of like almost like stands in the dim light, rather than sort of like getting right into the light. He sort of like stands just on the outside of it, and you notice that the three guards sort of like go go onto the boat, and can you now see Hazra?
I can see the boat.
Yeah, could you see the boat before?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all right. Because when I clicked on you, you couldn't. So I was just.
Oh, okay. No, I'll be able to see the boat all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
with 2 guards.
Yeah, they seem to be move the guards out the way, and then they seem.
They don't kill the guards, do they?
Well, they just seem to sort of like kick them
Drag
out the
them.
way,
Right, that's fine.
and then they seem to be going onto the boat. You just roll a perception roll for me, please. I just want to see how much information I should give you.
Yep, certainly. Please.
Yeah, they're actually. They seem to be.
Do I get a crit with that?
Yeah. So I'm giving you more information now. So what they appear to be doing is going on the boat, looking at the crates, so pulling back the covers, searching around them, and then they seem to be picking individual crates. So sometimes they sort of like peel back the dust cloth or whatever, look around, and then just return it. Other times they seem to go in and just take one from the bottom. Other times it's just one from the top. Sometimes they seem to move a lot of crates and then pick one from really deep in the middle of the pile and bring it out. They're not just taking specific crates. They're literally taking...
Shopping
Yeah.
to order.
Okay, so this continues for about half an hour, 30 minutes. Them coming backwards and forwards. And
Sorry, while this is happening, Hazra will be relaying the information to the group
yeah, cool.
and asking Hengist and Gulliver and Mr. Bartleby what should we go now? Should we get them in the act, or should we wait till they load up?
We should act now, while we still can.
I think we should wait until they've loaded the wagon and they're back on outside our warehouse, and then we can spring them on them more suddenly.
Hengist, you are the most knowledgeable. Sorry, Bartleby. You are the most knowledgeable person here, Hengist, about this sort of thing. You were in the guards. You are a warrior of extreme prowess. So yes, I bow to your knowledge.
Okay then. So is the plan to wait till they actually offload the boat, what they're doing, and then heading back to where they came from or where they're going? Is that the plan to do?
Yeah. So when they get, it's when they're off the pier and near to the warehouse that we're in, is when we're going to spring out the door and ambush them there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, got you.
Is that when Bartleby's going to, Mr. Bartleby, are you going to shine the light of Amriel onto Hengist's shield so we can see these venomous people, what they're doing?
I could do that too. I was holding my lantern because I thought I'd need to light it. But yes, I could give Grace of Amriel.
What do you think?
I don't think it really matters what I think. I think you should honour them.
But we are paid to capture them.
So what you do notice, Hazra, and it's from this point it'll be up to you. You relay this to everybody, so everybody is aware at this point. So what you notice is that they seem to have piled this wagon quite full. There must be over 12 crates here. And what happens when they're actually going back out, the cult guy, the guy with the hood, he seems to lead the way. And this time there's 2 of the thugs holding the front of the barrel of the wagon, and sort of like carrying it, because obviously it's a lot heavier. And one of the final ruffian, the final thug, goes behind, and they come down out of sight of the light. So they're at the wagon, they're at the Yeah, that's where you assume that they're
That
going
was a
to be.
guess, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, so all you know is that they're coming down this way. Once they're going out the light, so they might have gone north, they might have gone south. You're not too sure. So let's, at that point, let's roll some initiatives, shall we?
No,
What's the betting Bartleby goes last?
I know. It's my worst nightmare.
Plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Strong
sorry.
10.
Well, I was the person talking. Sorry. Oh, poo. I can open the door.
Yeah, I just need to put mine on.
Medivac can click his token.
Medivac, it's got Medivac.
It's reset itself again. Sorry. It was Hasra earlier.
What did you get? 18. And then let me put the thugs on as well. Okay, then. So that's that. And let me just roll for my thugs. So let's have a look.
10 plus 473.
That's a good roll for them. That is a good roll. That's yes. So they are at this. So let's move. So they're actually moving before all of you, aren't they? Can you see the turn order?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, some good rolls for me. Thank you, chat, for giving me those good rolls as well. That was
Sorry,
fantastic.
golf clap.
Yes. Okay then. So yeah, Hazra, you see them going out of the light, and you're up first. What would you like to do?
Hasra will feel his way to the door. He knows where the door is because he's going to move across the wall. He keeps his hands on the wall, find the door. As he does that, he will.
Okay, so because
open it.
Yeah, because everybody's in the dark at the moment, you can move half your walking movement, and that's absolutely fine. If you want to move your full walking movement in the dark, then you can do that. That's not a problem, but you have to do an athletics check. And if you fail that, you actually bump into something and fall over or something like that. So
I don't think it's a million miles away from the door. It's like 3
It's here. Yeah.
squares away. Yeah. So I'd like to move to the door, and as we go past, I'll say, Bartleby, give Hengist Amriel's light if you can, make it shine on him, or give me some light. And I'll try to, as I'm doing that, I'm going to try to open the door and push it open.
Yeah, so that's 4 meters away, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So is that is that half your movement or less?
My movement is, I usually just make it up as I go along. My walk is 6, so no. Do you want me to make an athletics roll?
Yeah, just make an athletics roll just to make sure you don't, you should be fine.
Should I? No, jinxer. You are the jinxer.
Do you wish to roll it again?
No, yeah, I will. Yeah.
Okay. Remove your point of luck.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and so you sort of like start walking towards the door, and you get to here, and you sort of like stumble into something, probably an imaginary deceased turtle on the floor or something, and sort of like bump into Hengist. Hengist goes, as you feel Hazra sort of like back into you. Gulliver, you're up.
Gulliver divers. He's in the dark. To
Okay,
be honest with you, I don't even know where Gulliver is in the warehouse because I didn't see where he ended up. So until we have he's just sort of like.
Yeah, so you know where you are, don't you? You can see you. And the doorway is here. Okay then, so you diver. Hengist, you're up on 12. What would you like to do? You know Hazra's behind you now.
Or am I?
Hengist will use his free action and say, "What's happening, Hazra? Why have you moved?"
Okay, do you wish to do...
And then dither.
Okay, then. And Bartleby, you're next.
Because I just heard Hengist talk. Can I reach out and touch him?
You'll need to...
He's at the door with me, wasn't he?
Yeah, you can sort of like fumble away in the darkness and try to touch him and cast your spell. Yeah, by all means. So this would be a hard cast.
Okay,
Because you're in
about to ask
darkness.
if I need to roll something extra. Hard cast.
What spell is it first?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give this to him.
Okay, cool. So roll your exhort.
Hard exhort, and I'm prepared to use it.
Convince Amriel to give you your power.
Goddess, give Hengist all the power. Can I use a point of luck?
Yes, you can, and then you can just reverse it. So let's give Hengist some light.
Hengist of Amriel, moonlight and power. Protection, and I'm putting it on his shield, I would presume.
Yeah, so so he will have control of that now, because just remember that it's there. I'll put a nice little shield on you, so you've got it like that, and that's the end of combat turn 1. So now we're going to combat round turn 2. Okay, hang on a minute, just let me do something here.
I have visions of Bartleby saying, "Have you seen the light?" And Henry said, "I've seen the light. Have you seen the light? I've seen the light."
We all see the light now.
Blues Brothers style.
Cool. Okay then, back to this one. Yeah. Okay then. So 22 and 19 have gone. So Hazra, you can now see. Sorry, I've taken the door off as I moved something. So the door is actually there. You could probably see it still. Yeah.
It's closed still, isn't it? 'Cause nobody's opened the door.
It's just sort of like a bit. So now Hazra, we're up to you.
Yep. So I will move around. I will stand to one side of the door and throw it open.
Okay then, so you throw the door open.
And not quietly.
Not
I
quite.
want to know we're here.
Yeah, so you throw the door open. There's a sort of like a bang as it hits back onto the warehouse. Gulliver, you can now see, and or you should be able to see now. Let me know if you can't see Hengist's light. And yes, Gulliver, you're up on 14.
So Hazard didn't go through the door, he just opened it.
Yeah.
It's a big double door.
Yeah.
Looks like it's me then. Right. Gulliver's going to go out into the street.
Okay then, yeah, so you sort of like go out into the street and you sort of like look up and down. It's not completely dark here, and you look south, i.e. to your right, and you can see nothing, but you can probably see in your mind's eye the glow of the your alarm spell. And going north, you notice that just here, the corridor turns, the path turns away, and you just notice as you come out the last ruffian going round that corner. Hengist, you're up.
Okay, so Hengist is going to go out as well and stand here, and then he will be looking left and right for the
Okay, so as you come out, Gulliver probably tells you that they just went round the top of the top of the corner, sort of like round to the left at the top. And Bartleby, you're up.
I would like to try and light my basic lantern. if
Yeah,
I could.
yeah. By
Is there
all
a
means.
roll I would need to do for that, or
No, that can be rolled. I think that's 9 meters, isn't it?
I think so?
Yeah.
That's all I have in my hands at the
Yeah.
moment.
Cool. Yeah, so that's sort of like burst. Oh, hang on. I need 9, 6, like that. No, that's wrong. 9. Is it? I'm just looking at the dimness. I always get the actual things round the wrong way. Yeah, so you can now see out into the corridor, into the road, etc. Yeah, so that's the end of turn 2. So we're on to turn 3 now for anybody who's got combat action. Anybody who's got actions left. So Hazra, do you have any actions left? Do you have 3 action points? I can't hear you.
Yeah. So I will move to the edge of the light as far as I can.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm assuming that Gully's probably the gun north.
Yeah, I mean that information is probably shared between you. Gulliver, you'll be up next. I think you have 3 action points as well.
There was no. I didn't see any light on the. None of the ruffians were carrying light. I just saw them.
You saw that. You've probably figured there's something on the wagon. They obviously weren't carrying anything, but they do have a light source.
Okay, I'm going to cast a spell. I'm going to. The spell that I'm going to cast is that one. Well, I need to do it into. Let's do that, and let's do that, me, and that. So that's the spell that I'm casting. I'm going to start projecting my sight. So he closes his eyes, and when he opens them, it's sort of like his eyes are just sort of like swirling water.
Right. Yeah.
So it's got a range of 750 meters. So it's going to start where he's going, and he's going to start moving in the direction of where he saw them going.
How long will it take you to cast it?
It's going to take me
3 turns.
3 turns to
3
cast.
turns. Okay, then. So this will be turn number 1 for you, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So yeah. So you're there. Hengist, do you have another action left?
Hengist does. Hengist is going to be. So if he's got light on him, how far can he move to the edge of the light? Is that like the distance?
He's got light on him and moves with him.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to work out how far I can actually move.
Your movement.
So how
So my
far?
normal movement
Yeah.
rate.
So
Yeah.
how far can you move?
So he can move 6, running 15.
Okay. Then. So are you
34.
15.
are you running or walking?
He will probably be walking at the moment.
Okay.
So he'll move his full 6 north.
Yeah, so 6 meters actually takes you up to the turn in the corridor, so in the path. So that path now turns to your west, and okay. you sort of like have a peek around, have a check around it. It seems to then turn again quite rapidly to the north. Bartleby, do you have any actions?
I was hoping to spend a point of luck to get an action here, since I normally would.
By all means, knock it.
And that action is going to be moving outside and then walking up north. My walk speed of 6.
Right, so you can probably get to sort of like this position.
Yeah.
Once you're outside. Okay then. Yeah. So that's the end of.
I'd like to spend one of my luck points to buy another action as well, and have it as the second of my spell casting.
Say again. So you're going to take it down to.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you'll do it on the
it'll
next turn.
a second turn of my spell,
Yeah,
so
okay.
it will come off on my turn next.
Yeah. So we're going into combat round 2
Can
now. Yeah.
I just say Bartleby should have a 9-meter light on him?
For his.
Lantern.
I see a light for myself.
Oh, I don't.
Let's have a look. You see him now?
Yeah, there's a light for me.
Yeah, there's a light for me.
Yes, sorry, yes, that's
Yep,
wonderful. Thank
that's
you.
all right. Right, so this is combat round 2, turn 1. So it's the second combat round turn. So Thugs and Hooded have gone, and we are down to Hazra. You're next.
Yeah, I'm going to run as far as I can to the end of the light source, which means you're going up and then left as far as I can see, which is about there.
Okay, then hang on a minute, because you'll actually go on to another map.
No!
Right. So just so I know, just to make movement a little bit easier at this point, because I don't particularly want to split you across 2 maps. So obviously, Hazra is going around the corner. Gulliver, what are you going to be doing?
So I'm going to be switching my sense to my my projected sense and my sight. So I will be remaining where I am and seeing whether or not I can catch up to them and find out where they're going.
Okay then. And Hengist and Bartleby, what's your plans?
Hengist will be following around the corner as well.
Okay then.
Trying to keep pace with Hazra.
Hazra, and what about Bartleby?
Following as well. Keep the light source.
Okay.
Everybody.
So what I'm going to do, therefore, is that I'm going to move you onto the next map. Let's not use those. Let's use mine. So you can see this, Gulliver, but you're in projected self mode rather than real life mode. And I'm going to put you onto the map. You won't be able to see it yet. As the so it should be Hazra be first, then Hengist, then Bartleby, and so we're like that. Let me just make sure that. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm going to move you across, and you should be able to see things now. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't see anything, but
Yes, sorry, yes.
1 second.
right, okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, can you see? Okay then, so you can see that if you remember before, this alleyway going north is a very short, very narrow alleyway. Okay, I'm going to keep your initiatives just to one side, but you can move as a party now. So Hazra, you're in the lead. So unless something dramatic happens, I'm assuming that you're going to be in order of marching order. Gulliver, remember Gulliver is not there, so you can't see Gulliver at all. But Gulliver, I understand that your projected sense is
So I mean, Gulliver wants to try to get to them as soon as possible because it's only his sense it's only his sight that's going.
Yeah.
I mean, it unfortunately his movement's done in kilometers per hour, so the speed that he can move is 100 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, I mean you can move quite rapidly. So if you actually want to go past them in any point, then that's completely up to you. But is it dark for you as well if you go outside the light source?
It's gonna, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's looking for, sort of
So
like.
just tell me if you want to do anything different when we move people up. So Hazra, you've got the lead. What do you wish to do?
What Hazra will do is he will slow down slightly and let Hengist take the lead because he has a light source.
Okay, then. So that's
But he'll be as close as he can to Hengist.
so you sort
Because
of
there's
like as you go round, you sort of like adjust the walking
Yeah.
speed, etc. And then
I can't see the point of Hazra running to the dark, so.
okay, yeah. So Hengist, you're in the lead now, and what would you like to do?
So Hengist is going to be trying.
If you give me actions like I'll move up to the next intersection or something like that,
Okay. So once he's gone around this corner, he will be moving up to the next turning or intersection.
Okay,
or whatever
then.
it is.
So I presume just for this ease that everybody does the same. So you can see now that you're almost like as a T junction, Hengist. It goes left and right, or east and west.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is there any indication of which way they went? Is there can I see the edge of that light source or anything?
No, not at all. You can make a perception roll if you wish.
Might as well.
Okay, so Hengist sort of like puts his hand up, commando style, at everybody, stuffed us to us top, and you listen, and you think you can hear the creak of the wagon. You think it's almost like to the north. It seems to be a lot further north. It doesn't seem to be to your east and west. It seems to be north, but it sounds. You only just catch it, and then it's gone, and it sounded quite muffled. You do figure that these people have got quite a distance on you. If they've been walking all the time, they will be getting 6 meters ahead every time you sort of like slow down. So yeah, so what would you like to do?
So Hengist is going to 50-50. He's going to probably turn to the left, I think, and go down that way.
Okay, cool.
He's trying to remember the route that they went with Krytos, and he's trying to work his way north.
Say again, sorry.
Gulliver's going to he's going to go the opposite way.
Okay then. So you'll be able to move to the edge of that light source, won't you?
Hazra will whisper harshly to Hengist, not in a horrible way, but Hengist, run! We need to catch them up.
There's a doorway to the south, Hengist. You can see the wooden steps there. That's where the door is. Hang on, Gulliver, you can move a lot quicker. So what do you wish to do? You're coming to the end of the bright source there. You've got some dim light, haven't you, that you can move into if you wish.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll move into the dim light and see what I can see. Is it after the dim light? Is it pitch black? Can't see at all.
Well, it's dark. It's not. There is the moonlight, so you know several things from standing there. You know that down here you can hear the sound of the sea.
I can't hear anything because I'm only projecting my sight.
Oh right, so yeah, so you won't be able to. It's literally just sort of like what you can see then.
Right. Okay. So it's just pitch black.
Yeah. So back to Hengist then.
Okay. So Hengist is going to carry on moving, trying to work his way north.
Okay.
as far as you can.
So you get to, this is the next place that you get to. Gulliver, what is your plan?
Gulliver's going to cancel his sight and go back to.
Okay then. So that just takes a free action, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you like to do once you've got back to your body?
He's going to start getting a torch ready.
Okay then. That's absolutely fine. Okay then, so people up at the top end there, we'll come back to you therefore. So Hengist, the threesome is there. You know that the road to the west leads back to the main guard place. So which way would you like to go, Hengist?
So Hengist is going to continue trying to go north because that's the last direction he knew that the wagon was travelling in.
Okay then, so you move round to.
Hazard's going to light a torch as well.
Okay then, so I presume everybody's going to stop at that point to light a torch. So I presume both Gulliver and Hazra have tinder boxes and their torch in backpacks.
Yes, indeed.
So you sort of like, Hengist, you get to this point and Hazra says, hang on, stop, and I'm going to light a torch.
Yeah, went my own light source.
So you wait a while. Oh no, not hit points. You wait a little bit longer there, and you should have your own light source now. Let me just move. Yeah. And yeah, so now Hazra. So Bartleby's got a lantern. Hazra's got a torch. Hengist has got a glowing shield, and Gulliver back. You've got your torch out and lit now. So Gulliver, what's going to be your plan?
So Gulliver, once he's back onto his normal sight and he's got a torch so that he can see, he's going to start heading north.
He's going to join the party, yeah? Okay then.
No, he's going to go right when he gets to the junction. When he gets to the T junction, he's going to go right.
Oh, right. Okay then. Not a problem. So let me give you some light.
But his movement's going to be a bit slower.
Yeah, no, I know. It's all right. No worries. I'll only move you on when you actually get to the get there. So yeah, so Hengist, you're sort of like at this point. This building here looks very familiar. It's that is your safe house that you are meeting Krytos at it. You recognise that as you move forward.
Okay. Angus is going to Angus is going to turn to his right and hope that meets up with another road.
Okay.
And see what happens. See what he can see down that way.
While he's doing that, Hazra will run past him.
Yeah. You mean going north?
Yeah, he's going to go down here and up to here, and just see what I can see that way. He should run rather than walk.
Okay then. So you will actually get up there with your torch. So you, Hengist, you see Hazra running past you as he sort of like goes past, and Bartleby, you see Hazra running past you as well. Hengist, you get to that point and stop, and Gulliver, you sort of like, I think, did you say you were just casually walking?
No, I said I was going as fast as I can, but my run speed is only 2/3 of my walk speed, so it's only 12 rather than 17.
Okay then, so you
because of my leg.
Yeah, so you get to here at the end of that round, and it's 10 o'clock, so this seems to be a sensible place to leave it. Just to point something out, things out to people. Hazra, you could probably see ahead of you, just where you stood. Can you see that there's a door there?
Just there?
No, straight ahead of you.
Sorry,
to the north. Here.
Oh, sorry. Right, sorry. I was looking too far north.
That's there. You down this bit here looks like the ocean, and there's a pier further down there that's sort of like so you can see just a bit of the ocean, and this further that way seems to be some kind of pier. Bartleby, you can see behind, and Hengist, you can see that this is a dead end. And there is, let me just check my other map, there's no door ahead of you at all. You can, sorry Hazard, there's one more thing, because you can't see it on the map, so I'm going to have to draw it on. You can also see that there's a door roundabout there, there's a door here. Let me just draw it on for you so you can see it. There's a door down to your southwest, and there's a door there. So it's 10 o'clock. We're just gone. Sorry.
So just side note, the road or the path that we've come down, could that cart have come down through that path?
Yeah, quite easily.
Oh, right, okay, that's fine.
Quite easily. With two people pulling it, one person behind, not a worry at all. Okay then, so well done. So you're in hot pursuit of the thugs and the cargo, etc., and hopefully in the next adventure we will find it. I'm not going to give you any experience points at the moment. I don't know whether or not it's good to have it at the end of every session. I think now that, hopefully by the end of the next session this will be finished, and then I can give you your experience points then. But it seems a bit strange to give it here. Then you get some sessions that are jam-packed with action and role play and everything, then other sections that are quite limited. So I think I'm going to, rather than every session, I'm going to these sessions should only be about 3. The adventure, should be about 3 sessions, then you can have it. So does anybody have any announcements to make? Marky Mark says, great point for next time. Take care. And it's nice to see you all again. Does anybody have any announcements to give?
I do not.
No.
None from this guy.
No, brilliant. So thank you for coming along and watching. We will be back, if everybody can make it, next Saturday at 7 o'clock for further adventures in Mythras. Until then, let's hope all your opposed rolls earn you with a well-earned special. And we will catch you all next week. Until then, look after yourself, everybody, and bye. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And then This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.